I usually stay out of these conversations, but with Caitlin Clark, I can't stay silent anymore.
The entire arena holds its breath when the greatest of all time speaks. Furthermore, Michael Jordan was thinking about more than simply his personal legacy this time. He brought attention to Caitlin Clark, a rising star who is revolutionizing women's basketball with each shot. In a moment that shook the court and left Clark weeping, MJ delivered a stunning homage that resonated well beyond the stage. What specifically did he say, though, that made the audience stand up? Fasten your seatbelt. You don't want to miss this particular time. Michael Jordan and Caitlin Clark's ascent. When Michael Jordan takes a step into the public limelight, especially when it comes to players outside the NBA, it's not ordinary. It's deliberate. People take notice when a WNBA rookie receives that infrequent attention. Jordan has traditionally refrained from offering much opinion on the women's game, preferring to watch from a distance while establishing his reputation in the men's league through branding, ownership, and worldwide influence. But when he does talk, it's not just compliments, particularly when it comes to a rising star like Caitlin Clark. It's a seismic shift in how greatness is understood. Clark is not merely gathering data. She is radically changing the WNBA's image. Record-breaking attendance numbers and unheard-of television ratings have resulted from her entrance. She has transformed formerly quiet games with the Indiana Fever into sold-out events with over 1 million spectators every game. However, her ascent is not only significant in terms of numbers. The ripple effects contain it. Girls are picking up basketballs not simply to play, but also to be seen and heard in locations where her games are frequently televised. Youth basketball programs are flourishing, and camps are packed. That kind of effect is similar to what Jordan used to accomplish on the men's team. He did more than merely win games in the 1990s. He revolutionized what a basketball player might represent globally. There is now a new dimension to that history as his Jordan brand quietly forges alliances with WNBA players. His empire's business division is changing to reflect the commercial potential and cultural significance of elite female athletes. The question of whether the women's game matters commercially is no longer relevant. It has to do with how quickly that value is rising. Clark is the focal point of that surge. Therefore, Jordan's public recognition of someone like Clark is not coincidental. His infrequent but impactful remarks go beyond simple endorsements. These statements compel brands and fans to pay notice. His legacy brings a weight few others can equal. Additionally, it gets more difficult for the sports world to ignore him when he draws attention to someone. It's a type of cultural transfer that goes beyond endorsement but falls short of mentorship. That crossing energy has only been intensified by social media. These days, recognition isn't relegated to award stages or ESPN interviews. Stars can communicate in real time, openly support one another, and create stories that transcend gender and league borders thanks to platforms like Instagram and TikTok. Jordan's acknowledgement of Clark landed in that setting, not as a subdued gesture but as a pivotal moment that quickly went viral online. Corporate branding have become popular quite quickly. There is more to joint marketing with male and female athletes than just visibility. They focus on synergy, a tactic that allows spectators to envision unrestricted basketball brilliance. Veteran legends and up-and-coming stars are being drawn into shared limelight moments as more businesses engage in this goal. These moments allow the past and future to collide, allowing someone like Jordan to subtly affirm a force like Clark. And just when Jordan's remarks seemed unmatched, why did suddenly come in with unexpected praise of their own?
Stay tuned.
Larry Bird, who was never renowned for big public gestures or spectacular headlines, issued a statement that landed heavier than it sounded when the greats couldn't take their eyes off Caitlin Clark. He acknowledged, in his typically subdued voice, that during the previous season, he found himself watching Iowa as much as Indiana State, his own alma institution, which served as the starting point for his illustrious career in the late 1990s. It was not ostentatious. It wasn't exaggerated, but for a player of Bird's stature, it said everything. Bird doesn't waste words. People pay attention when he places Caitlin Clark on the same conceptual level as the games that have shaped his career. What's more compelling is the kind of basketball Bird appreciates. He doesn't follow the buzz. He appreciates hard work, vision, and making decisions. And those are exactly the elements that Clark's style reflects. Her long-range accuracy, fast reflexes, and pace control are similar to the qualities that once characterized Bird. His remark wasn't merely complimentary. It showed respect for the way the game is meant to be played, which is a form of admiration. For those who recognize how uncommon it is for women's basketball to catch the attention of vintage luminaries, Bird's subtle acknowledgement said volumes. However, it didn't take long for the colorful, vocal, and fiercely devoted Shaquille O'Neal to add his own surprising voice to the expanding list of greats. Now, keeping a careful eye on Caitlin Clark, Shaq didn't instantly become a fan of Clark. His loyalty to Angel Reese, a player he has consistently publicly backed, was evident in the early stages of her WNBA career. However, something changed as Clark maintained his dominance with poise, self-assurance, and game-eatering prowess. The hoopla and publicity weren't the only factors. It was what he personally seen. And there was no denying the change in tone when he eventually addressed it. "Now I'm not Shaq. I'm a fan," he declared, putting aside his extravagant demeanor for a brief moment of straightforward candor. He wasn't merely complimenting her. He gave an explanation. He discussed how she improves everyone around her, how she can create opportunities, and how she makes plays. He observed that her choices weren't just ostentatious, but also wise. Legends have been played by Shaq. He understands the distinction between short-term thrills and long-term excellence. And he saw the latter in Clark. The fact that his praise came so naturally in spite of his previous position was even more startling. There was no reluctance. He acknowledged how television can distort a player's performance, but said Clark's game was even better in person. Her leadership, her movement, and her choice of shots all translated. Sound bites didn't appeal to Shaq. Her maturity, intelligence, and control on the floor truly impressed him. And he made it clear that what she's doing isn't ordinary. Recognition from figures like Bird and Shaq isn't just validation. It's a shift in how the game is being seen by those who've defined it. Their admiration doesn't come from sentiment. It comes from basketball logic from years spent dissecting what makes players stand out at the highest level. And as the roar of legends still echoed around her, why did Team USA leave Caitlin Clark off the Olympic roster? Is there more to the story? Let's find out. When criticism fuels a comeback, Caitlin Clark's silent uprising. There's a certain silence that comes with being left out. Not the kind that echoes through an empty arena, but the kind that lingers in your chest when your name doesn't make the list. Caitlin Clark had felt pressure before, but being left off the US Olympic roster brought a different weight. It wasn't just about one tournament. It was the symbolic message that rattled fans and critics alike. For many, it was unthinkable. A player who had reignited interest in women's basketball, packed arenas, and boosted TV ratings, now sidelined at the global stage. It didn't sit right, but not everyone viewed it as a disaster. Dwight Howard, a man whose NBA journey was filled with highs and bruises alike, saw it as a test, one that might turn out to be a blessing. "This should make her go harder in the gym," he said bluntly, offering no sugar-coated sympathy. It wasn't a dig, but a challenge. Howard wasn't minimizing her pain. He was pointing toward what lay beyond it. He'd seen it before. Athletes who get snubbed often find a way to make the world regret it. He expected nothing less from Caitlin. And maybe, just maybe, that exclusion gave Caitlin the one thing she hadn't had in a long time: space. Without the chaos of an Olympic schedule, without the scrutiny of every possession magnified on the world stage, she found time to recalibrate. Her absence from Paris allowed her to sharpen her edges in peace. While the cameras turned elsewhere, she stayed in the gym. Her fire wasn't for show. It was for herself. The fans didn't see every extra drill or late-night film session, but it was happening quietly, consistently. Elsewhere, former NBA guard Jeff Teague wasn't staying quiet. From his perspective, the WNBA had fumbled a golden opportunity. "They played this all wrong," he said, shaking his head. Teague had never been one for headlines, but when he spoke, his frustration came through clearly. The league hadn't just underutilized Caitlin, they'd alienated a wave of fans she brought with her. Games were suddenly selling out. Merchandise was flying. Social media numbers were up. And yet, Her welcome had been anything but warm. Teague wasn't alone in his view. Hall of Famer Rick Barry added something sharper to him. The physicality Caitlin faced wasn't just rough, it was personal. "It's reprehensible," he said of the repeated targeting. This wasn't the usual rookie treatment. And coming from Barry, a man who played when hard fouls were routine, that said everything. What disturbed him wasn't just the contact. It was the message from the top. If stars aren't protected, what kind of tone does that set? In those early months, every game she played carried extra weight. Every foul felt like a challenge. Every star owned a warning. And yet, no theatrics, no angry interviews, just focus. She absorbed it all quietly, professionally. Gradually, things began to shift. Her teammates stood taller. Rivals took note, even if they wouldn't admit it. The silence that once felt like rejection began to carry a different kind of tension. It no longer signaled doubt. It hinted at something building. Because now this isn't just about packed arenas or record-breaking numbers. Caitlin Clark is becoming a force that the basketball world can't ignore. And as her game keeps doing the talking, the quiet respect from legends starts to feel less like whispers and more like prophecy. So, what happens next? Stick around, as the story is just getting started. The fire they can't ignore. From the outside, it may seem like a seamless rise, but within the heart of it lies a growing storm. Jealousy, pressure, legacy, and expectation all converging on one player. And when someone like Michael Jordan speaks, the basketball universe listens. His words about Caitlin weren't casual praise. They were a torch passed. "She's got that fire," he remarked. "The kind that scares people," and stated she's better than every player on the 2025 U.S. Olympic team. But Jordan wasn't referring to opponents on the scoreboard. He meant those who perceived her achievement as a threat rather than inspiration. "The way they target her," he said, "isn't about the game. It's about fear." Coming from the man who spent a career silencing doubters with every stroke, his message was plain. Tune out the noise, stay focused, and let the game speak.